going on, everybody? Are you guys in the process of building a PC and only have 30 bucks left over to buy a case? Well, in today's episode, I might actually have something to help you out. Stick around and I'll show you what's good about this case, what's bad about it, and a couple tricks you can do to try and make it a little bit better, at least potentially. Hey everybody, thanks for watching today. I have a case review for you for the DIYPC F2 P. The P is for the color purple, which you see right here on the front cover. They do have two other color options available, which is the O for the orange and the W for the white. This one does have purple LED fans in the front and a second one that is in the exhaust, so it does come with two case fans, which is a nice option for this. The orange one, you're gonna have an orange stripe, orange LED fans. The white one's actually gonna be a white case, black stripe, blue LED fans. There is some price difference. The white one I believe is $34.99. The orange one is $31. But like I said, this one right here comes in just under $30. They're not too bad, like I said. They're styled pretty decent for the price point. Again, remember, it's a sub $30 PC case. There's suggested retail price on these through DIYPC is $49.99, but pretty much everywhere you look, they are cheaper than that, unless you probably hit some small wholesaler online that's probably got the price marked up to make as much as they can off of it. Regardless of the marketing side of it, you do have, again, front mesh cover here. You do have a top mesh right there, so you can put a exhaust fan or an intake fan up the top if you decide to do so. Side panel, you got a big bulbous side here. We'll get to the details about that here in a little bit. You do actually get a window on this one, so if you do want to do RGB or just some nice stuff on the inside, mind you, you do have limited space because it is a mini tower. It's not a full ATX or a mid tower, but you do have options. It's not a tempered glass, it's just a plastic window, plexiglass, whatever they use. The rear is pretty standard for most towers. Power supply, rear I/O, the rear exhaust fan, like I stated, your PCI slots, and that's about it. So up to the top, again, it's bare essentials, but you do have everything you need for, again, a case of this price bracket. You're looking at your power button right here, slightly off shape, so to give a little bit of style to it. They have their little branding sticker right there for the DIYPC. If you really wanted to, you can easily take that out and put something else in there, just put another sticker over it. You have your reset button, USB 3.0, two USB 2.0s, and then your mic and headphone jack right there in the front. One thing I did want to mention too before I forget about it is you do actually have a filter for your power supply, so you can actually route the fan and take air in from the outside. It does have these little feet on here, which keeps you about a ½ an inch off the ground or so. So if you do have thick carpet, you can probably, you know, stand up through it without too much choking off of the fans there. Yeah, so we'll start taking this apart, get inside of it. It does have thumb screws on it, which is a nice plus, especially for, again, it's all about the price of this one. It's not super fancy. It's not gonna have every bell and whistle you can think of, but it's got a lot of great features for the price. Again, thumb screws. Just make life a little bit easier there. Side panel slides off. Like I said, side window there. Let's get to the insides here. So you can see your rear fan. So again, it's a purple LED on this one. You do have a hard drive cage with a pretty simple hard drive cage for your RPM drives. It expands out. You mount your hard drive, clamp it shut, slide it back in. So you do actually have two full-size RPM hard drive mounting points here. One being this guy. The second one is actually just below it. There's not a tray, so you can slide it in and out. And I actually personally don't like the way this is designed, but they used what they had for the space and gave you a spot to put a second one. It actually bolts right to the floor. You would have to take a screwdriver and go right here through all these little screw holes and mount your hard drive that way. I personally don't like that. It's an easy way to lose your your screws, and it's just a pain in the butt. It's no fun for anybody. Now, if you're gonna use SSDs, which is something I would personally do, you do have a little SSD tray right here on top of the hard drive cage, which again is just a nice little plus to have it there. And you do have two mounting points up here on this back inner wall that they provide for you. I personally don't like the way they're designed, but it does do the job. So that makes life a little bit easier if you have a lot of hard drives that you want to store, especially in a small case. You can essentially get 5 hard drives in here, 3 SSDs, 2 full-size RPM drives. Your spot for your power supply, again, there's your fan there, and that filter in the bottom is removable. It's just a simple little mesh insert that goes in there. You can pull it out, shake it off, vacuum it off if you really want to, put it back in. Your I/O cables on this are actually kind of nice. Not that they're super crazy quality, but they're pretty flat, they're low profile. The fattest one there you have is actually USB 3.0, but they're actually really long, which has its pros and cons. The con of it is you've got a lot more cable to hide. The pro is, depending on your motherboard layout and everything else, it does give you the extra slack in there to route those cables around the back and tuck them and hide them and get your cable management game up to where it needs to be. Again, for such a low price case. Your fans do have another con on it that I don't like. They come with a Molex connector and a 3-pin fan header on it. One of the tips I was saying before that you can do to try and modify this case a little bit better is the Molex connector is actually piggybacked off your 3-pin fan header. You can snip these wires off, obviously being smart about it, and wrap them up with heat shrink, or if you're good with tape and you can stop it from unraveling, you can do that. Or you can snip them super tight and just make sure nothing gets in there, but that'll get rid of these extra little Molex connectors that are gonna be dangling around when you're trying to, again, make it look clean. You do have it factory installed with your standoffs for a mini ITX. You again have holes over here on this side, so you can put your micro ITX board in there, get it all nice and secure and safe and sound. Going to your rear portion of this now, this is where another one of my little tips and tricks to kind of help improve this a little bit. The downside here, your PCI slots, these are pop outs. These don't screw in or anything like that. You pop them out when you figure out how big of a card you're going to run in there, or put in all your cards, and there you go, it's opened up. I personally think what you should do is, once you determine where your card is going to sit, slip your card in there, pop out the ones you need to, and actually replace these. You can go on Newegg, you can go to Micro Center, go on Amazon, whatever. Get the PCI card slot covers with the filtered mesh on them. Reason being is, one, you're not gonna let you're not gonna let dust in there. It's gonna look nicer to some degree. And I don't know if you guys have ever noticed, your video card can sometimes pull extra air from your rear panel here. My personal rig that runs a 2070 on it, it will actually do the same thing. I've got 2 200mm fans in the front, and it's dumping all kinds of air. The processor is running off of an AIO, and it's still just freaking pulls in air through this back panel here. So that stops you from choking off your video card and gives you filtered air going into the system. So again, a little tip and trick for this personal, this setup, in my personal opinion. All right, so let's take this apart a little bit here, and we'll get into some more details on this one. We'll start with the other side panel here. Again, thumb screws make life a little bit easier for everybody. So we talked about cable management briefly with the front I/O cables being so long. I'm going to show you your cable management right now. Right here. It's all right here. This dished back panel is going to be where you have to store and tuck and hide most of your cables. It's nice they put this on here so you actually do have some variance of ability to manage your cables and reroute things. So again, while it's not the best, it's nice that they did do this, because there's a lot of other cases out there that don't have this. And as simple as that is, it may be a lifesaver with some big cables. And kind of what I'm getting to with that is, there is like no room. You're talking maybe 4mm around the edges to try and tuck something, but it's going to be such a pain. It's probably why they made these flat, but any of your normal standard cables are going to be thicker than that. You're going to have some trouble, especially your power cables. Again here, one thing I don't like is I wish these were grounded, so it would keep a little bit cleaner look, stop you from seeing little wires through the panels from the front side through the window there. But again, cheap board. Plus side is, these are actually pretty smooth here. It looks like they rolled these and cleaned it up, so there's no sharp edges here, so you don't have to worry about your cable management getting all shredded to pieces. So again, a plus there. And they do have a ton of little tie down points for your cable management. So again, nice little feature there. Glad they did that. Again, $30 case. Can't say that enough. Getting away from the back, we're gonna pull the front off. There's a recess here in the front. You can grab that, give it a nice little tug. Front panel comes off. Front panel, again, it's a mesh. This is not a filter here, so keep that in mind. We're gonna make a little point about that here in a moment, but it's all plastic, it's lightweight, so that's the plus side. It's lightweight, but we'd all prefer metal or something a little bit more heavy duty, but we gotta do what we gotta do. LED fan in the front here. You do have another part up top for another LED fan. Well, any fan you wish, whether it's LED, RGB, whatever. One thing I do like, and they did this with the rear exhaust fan too, which I'll show you on this just to verify, is the fan mounts actually have these nice little slotted bracket points there and allow you to adjust and slide the fan. Now, while that's not needed in every situation, it's great to have it here because you do have a small case and things are going to get tight. They're going to get cramped in there, and it may, you know, save your butt in the right situation and give you the room you need to fit your video card. If you decided to do a 120 millimeter all-in-one water cooler in here, you know, that little bit of flexibility might save your butt. You have, per their website, enough room to slap another 120 up here. I don't think that's an issue. I've actually debated, you might actually be able to rig and get another fan down here with some proper positioning with the amount of room they give you with these slots. I haven't tried it yet, but I will be doing a build with this case here in the near future. And if I can fit 3 fans in the front here, I'm gonna do so. There is no lower mounting holes that I can discern here that are designed for a 120 fan. But I think I might be able to make it work. So I'm gonna try that. Can't really say that that's a tip as of this point, but it's something you can look into as well if you're interested in this case. Going to the top now. Again, these all just pop off. They snap into place, nothing too crazy. So here's how you actually get access to the mounting for the upper fan. So essentially, the way I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have 4 fans on the case, 1 exhaust, 1 top, 2 in the front for sure. And I'm gonna see how that goes. I don't know if I'm gonna put this one on intake or exhaust. I kinda wanna make sure I'm running positive pressure, and I wanna make sure I get good airflow to everything. So I don't know if I really wanna run 2 intakes in the front, 2 exhausts. Now you would think, oh, well that's balanced, but I'm gonna show you why. So keep this in mind, you can run either or. So what I was saying there about the 2 versus 2, 2 in, 2 out, here's the problem. You've got spots for 2 fans there. That's all fine and great. Your front cover, however, cuts off the upper fan right there roughly. So this upper fan is going to be mostly choked out. It's going to have to draw air from this same hole that the lower one's pulling through. Now mind you, the lower one can also try to drag some through down here, right in this little recess where you can get in there and pull it off, but I'm still afraid that that's going to choke it off a little bit, so that's why I think I'm just going to try starting off with that upper fan as an intake and not an exhaust. Another little thing I'm going to try here, and again, this may work, it may make no difference, I'm not 100% sure. The upper fan, I'm going to use a static pressure fan, so hopefully it has a little bit more torque to try and pull air through with these restrictions that it's going to have, and I'm also going to put a filter on here. This mesh is not a filter. These holes are pretty big. They're not gonna really help filter out much other than maybe some large pet hair or some other things that are floating around your house. The upper fan, if you do an intake there, you can probably get away with putting a filter in there as well. I don't think if you just go those little screen mesh filters, you should be okay with doing that. So, another option, cover your ears. I'm going to snap that back on top there just so I can spin this around for you a little bit easier. And my final kind of tip and trick that I'm thinking about doing with this one, I'm not going to run RPM drives in this. This build is going to be for my wife, so I'm going to give this one to her. I have some ideas. I'm going to run an M.2 NVMe on the motherboard for this particular build, so I won't need these hard drive spaces. I may eventually have to add an SSD to it, which is fine because I will mount those against the back wall. What am I getting at here? This hard drive cage. I'm gonna pull this out of here. It's not screwed in, it's not bolted in, unfortunately it's riveted in. And here's the things here. You can take a drill and drill out the rivets here in the bottom. That will be a little messy. You are gonna get metal shavings and flakes that are gonna flop around and get all throughout the case, and you're gonna have to vacuum it out and just be very careful of that. You don't want metal pieces falling on your motherboard or any other components, or just getting dusted up through one of the fans and even into your power supply. You don't want that, so that's where I'm a little nervous about that idea. You can Dremel it, same problem. What I'm actually gonna try to do is, because the rivet heads that are on the inside of this are kind of big, I'm gonna try and get a pair of side cutters in there and snip those out and actually pull out this hard drive cage. Now, that may affect the structural rigidity of this one, but it's not going to be doing jumping jacks. It's not going anywhere. It's not going to be mobile. It's going to be put in this position and it's going to stay there and, you know, be a PC case. So I think in this situation, I'm okay with any little bit of flex loss, well, not loss, but gained in this situation. So we'll see. But that's all I've got for this one here. If you have any questions, put them in the comments. If you like this video and found it at all helpful, please like and subscribe. Thank you.